Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran and today's video is going to be more or less a video about certain changes happening in patch 8.1. Now, I usually cover everything in detail when it comes to patch 8.1, usually cross-referencing it with other websites that have all the details so I can present you guys as much information as possible. But recently I looked at a few things on the PTR. One of them was documented, the other was not. Not sure where the documentation is at. I looked at a couple of different websites from Wowhead, MMO Champion, wherever you look usually. But I think these updates will get you guys really excited and really happy about some of the stuff coming patch 8.1. I want to talk about what those changes are and more or less how they're going to affect you. Anyway, let's first dive into some of the biggest updates you'll be getting for your Emissary chest as soon as patch 8.1 finally drops. The first part I want to mention is there's huge updates to your Emissary quests, and this is something I noticed just today. So when patch 8.1 comes back and as more people come back into the game with a brand new patch and new content, you will be given a lot more loot. Probably one of the catch-up mechanisms, but Tortolan Seekers actually reward you trinkets and rings at 390 item level. And if you're behind on Azeroth gear, we will have gear going as high as 385, maybe even higher in the future. So this is really good news. So if you're someone who is going to be coming back to the game or checking it out again once patch 8.1 hits, it does seem that Blizzard is going to be establishing a lot of the catch-up mechanics for you guys all to come back or to start playing if, let's say, you're not at the best item level currently. Now, for everybody playing the game right now, it doesn't mean that your gear doesn't mean anything. Well, I guess in some sense it does. This is really a change that is not really going to do anything for the top tier players, but we are not going to have all these raids and all this content available day one. So all the people that are doing mythic pluses and raids that are rolling 385 Azeroth pieces on all 3 slots of their gear are not going to see a difference. But your everyday player that doesn't get into some of the high-end PvE or PvP content is going to be able to finally catch up to everybody else and have at least some sort of a decent starting point, granted as long as their item level is high enough. So in a sense, for you to work up for better gear now is going to mean that in the next patch you will probably have a lot better value in terms of the rewards you'll be getting. What's nice is that Blizzard allowing players to get a little bit better in terms of the Azeroth pieces. We don't know if the new Azeroth pieces will have a brand new system of multiple rings, but it is of course a possibility. And for the Tortolan Seekers, I'm actually happy that something like rings and trinkets are also being added, as I'm kind of tired of seeing a bunch of 340 rings on my main rogue. This will give me a reason to farm up a bit more trinkets, a bit more rings for the different specs that I have. But there's no conclusion or guarantee that those rings and trinkets will or will not scale with your item level. I'm currently at about 380 as I am on PTR, so the rings and trinkets it's giving me is 390. Maybe because of my high item level, it's giving me that high of an item level reward, or it could be just a flat passive that everybody is going to be able to earn. Now, if you've been out of the loop in terms of the patches and the item level, you might think that this is pretty high item level. I mean, we're going to the 380s, you're probably hovering around 360, what gives? But honestly, this is kind of normal. If you are doing mythic raiding old gear right now, 385 item level is the lowest that the gear will be dropped for. And of course, there's opportunity for Warforging and Titanforging to be even higher. This also adds into the 385 pieces you can get from your mythic plus chest for Azeroth and 370, 375 plus that you'll be able to get from 10s on all the other pieces that are not Azeroth pieces. And the progression of item level in the next patch is going to be up to 415. I think that's the highest potential one in mythics, at least in the raiding environment. But whether you are looking for a higher item level or you find it jarring, the brand new gear we'll be getting in patch 8.1 is going to have a slightly different Azeroth system where you'll have an extra ring so you can choose more different traits. So still there's some sort of a progression that's not even all about item level, but rather progression of a more powerful piece of gear, even if it might be slightly less or even the same item level as what you currently have, let's say your top raider, but at least that progression of getting a upgraded piece that's a stronger quality overall, even though at a lower item level, could potentially still be a replacement. Another bit of news comes from a PvP front, and I like Blizzard being able to, well, I guess watch how players play in the tournament scene and then react with different things that we might be or might not be getting in the next patch. Now, it has leaked that there's 2 brand new trinkets being added to the PvP scene, so for anybody who does PvP, I'm pretty sure you're gonna be pretty excited. What we saw in the recent BlizzCon is that there is this one trinket in the raid right now that you have to do Mithrax as one of the bosses, a second to last boss in the whole raid, and he drops a trinket that is agility and strength, but even intellect users were using it because the effect that it has. When you drop below a certain health threshold, you gain a shield, and it has an internal cooldown. Now, this type of trinket was very popular at the tournament, so Blizzard decided to implement a PvP version of that, so you don't have to go into a raid and kill a certain boss to get on a trinket with a similar effect, and instead that trinket is going to have stats that are actually valuable for you, especially for casters. The other trinket is a healing denial trinket with a little bit of a skill shot to it. So the trinket will prime itself and then it's supposed to shoot some shadow energy and block a certain amount of healing from an enemy that you hit. Very similar to the necrotic strike effect that was very unique to Unholy Death Knights, but it is now going to be available for others as a trinket of choice. Now, neither one of the trinkets is available currently on the PTR for patch 8.1 for us to test, but regardless, it does seem kind of cool that Blizzard is adding brand new trinkets for the ever-changing game of player versus player. It's also good that they are not completely tone deaf when it comes to PvP, where they see that people are using these trinkets in tournaments, and there is definitely use for it, even if they don't give you any stats. I mean, CD using that trinket to survive certain rogue mage combos was insane, and it's a way to outplay some of the other players. But with that being said, I'm pretty sure the question in the PvP community is going to be yet again, but are we getting vendors? When you add these 2 brand new trinkets, you are really relying on RNG that you will eventually get that trinket at one point or another whenever queuing arenas or battlegrounds. And eventually you'll be able to get that trinket, but wouldn't it be nice to save up your conquest points or honor points or whatever we have and just be able to buy it from the start as a very first thing if you're a healer or maybe a really squishy DPS? I feel like at this point, the ball is in your court, Blizzard. Are we going to be getting PvP vendors? I know they've been kind of quiet, and if anything, they didn't say that they are going to be giving us PvP vendors. In some cases, they said they're probably not going to happen. I feel like a PvP vendor at this point is reasonable, if anything. All the other aspects of the game, with war fronts, to islands, to mythic pluses, are getting those specific vendors where you have specific pieces of loot. But the one aspect of the game that still has this RNG chance without any specific pieces of loot that you can get from a vendor, an exact piece you're looking forward to, is PvP. But on the other side, Blizzard does give us a once a week type of reward where we see exactly what piece of gear we're getting if we cap out Conquest this week. It can be a weapon, it can be a trinket, it can be an Azeroth piece of gear even, and it does scale in a higher item level as the PvP season goes on. So in that sense, there is already one point of randomness completely eliminated by Blizzard. They're basically saying that eventually you'll be able to get that one piece of gear, it's just you'll have to wait a couple weeks. So technically you will eventually earn that trinket, that setup, that whatever the hell you're looking for. But it would be nice to add some player choice in terms of what you want to get rather than what you are going to get at the end of this week, because we don't really know what we're getting next week or the week after that or the week after that. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video of kind of like a WoW update, but not really. I just noticed these 2 things on a PTR and I felt like making a video just for them. Hope you guys are enjoying the videos and the streams. Thank you guys so much for support on the channel. It has been absolutely amazing trying to hit the 100,000 subscribers, if at all possible. Maybe a goal around Christmas-ish time. I guess we'll see. We have a couple months ahead of us. But thank you guys. I really do appreciate you, and I'll see all of you in another video.